the fifth episode of 10x Spotlight, and here we invite people who are the industry experts who are doing it for years, and they teach with their knowledge and all. So today, Bidisha is a personal strategist, and she started with content writing. Eventually, she upskilled and got better with her skills, with her craft, and right now she's here. Today she will teach you how to write as a premium ghostwriter. The reason I kept the name premium here is like everyone is a ghostwriter until and unless you think yourself as a premium service provider, you won't make money because everyone is a personal strategist, everyone is a ghostwriter, everyone is doing XYZ. But the moment you think yourself as a premium person, you're a premium service provider, you actually separate yourself from the crowd because everyone is doing the exact same thing and you are doing the same, but you are doing it in a slightly different way, and in a slightly and the change you are we are talking about here is all about mindset shift. Like when you start thinking like I'm a ghostwriter, but I'm a premium ghostwriter. That time, what happens? Like you change the perspective of writing content in a different way. So today, Bidisha will teach you how to write as a premium ghostwriter, and she's in personal branding space for the last 2 years. I know that she what she can provide and how the value she can provide. So let's get started, guys. Thank you for joining again. You can start.
Thank you, Anirban. Thanks a lot for having me here. And thank you everyone for joining the session. It means a lot to me. So let's not waste any more time and get started with our ghostwriting session today. Since you are all here learning the premium ghostwriting thing, so I would assume that you know what ghostwriting is basically, right? But the thing is, as Anirban said, everyone here is a ghostwriter, there are hundreds and thousands of ghostwriters on LinkedIn. But what are we doing differently so that we get clients? At the end of the day, we all are working to get more clients, to get more money. And since the competition is very high, we really need to do stuff strategically. Um, so tell me one thing. You guys have heard one thing on LinkedIn or online that you need to get into your client's shoes to, ghostwrite effectively. But what I have done and what I believe personally is that you need to get into your client's mind first and then into their shoes. Until unless you don't know what's going on in their mind, you won't be able to crack their tone, their voice, their thinking, their vision, their ideologies, and therefore you won't be able to ghostwrite for them effectively. So let me start with the presentation. Is my screen visible to you all? Is the screen visible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So first and foremost, why do we ghostwrite? We ghostwrite basically for our clients to save their time. Number one, we don't want them, like some of them might be busy founders, some of them might be their busy coaches or entrepreneurs, or maybe even doctors or engineers or any. They can be from any profession first of all. So either they cannot write well, that's why they hire us, or they don't have the time to write, to strategize the content, to think of all the technicalities. They don't have that much time. So that's why we ghostwrite on their behalf. So the first thing that we need to understand about ghostwriting is that we need to represent their voice and style in our post that we create for them. So the first thing that you need to discuss with your client on the very first discovery call, when suppose you are trying to get them in and you are trying to seal the project, you need to convince them, and that's the first thing that we say to convince them is that you are a very effective person to represent them. And then you should tell them that, just one second. Yeah. You must tell them that you will be able to represent their voice ideally, and that you have experience of maybe 6 months at least. How many years of experience you have all here? Can you tell me in the chat, please? 2 years, actually. Amazing. Anyone else? 6 years, Amita's. Wow. You have been ghostwriting for 6 years. That's
Yeah, exactly. Not six, it's 8 years. Yeah, but in LinkedIn and others, it's six.
okay. So here, Amita has just brought out an amazing point. Uh, Back then, when LinkedIn ghostwriting was not a real thing, the ghostwriting term was used for writing content for brands and businesses, right, Amita? If I'm not wrong.
Right. Very true, very true, very true.
Yeah, people nowadays they have forgotten the fact that ghostwriting generally it means writing for someone else, be it for the busy founders on LinkedIn or for the brands and their websites and their blog posts and sort of like that. Okay, Shahela, you are new to ghostwriting. Okay. Uh, Ankita says she has 8 months of experience. Rahul has 2 years of experience. Mubaraka 6 months. Amazing. Okay. So when you are approaching someone on discovery call, then you will say that you can represent them, and you need to represent them first of all. Even before trying to sell out yourself as you are the perfect person for ghostwriting them, you need to say that what you can do for them. So tell them that you will be able to bring their active presence on LinkedIn. You will be able to represent their voice and style, and that you can take care of all the technicalities and all the insights, analytics, and everything else for them. That's where you can create the content strategy for them. You can write for them. You can engage for them. So ghostwriting would most of us feel is that just writing the posts 12 posts a month, 20 posts a month, 2 posts a week. No, ghostwriting is also equal to the comments you do on their behalf. If someone is doing engagement strategy for their client now, that's also a sort of ghostwriting. If someone is writing newsletters for their client, that's also a sort of ghostwriting. You are not putting out your name. So tell all these little things to your prospect your clients while you are on call, that I will take care of your newsletters, maybe I will take care of comments, maybe I'll take care of posts, and all these things you won't be able to manage while handling your business. Whatever profession you are in, you need to focus on that. And I can take care of this. This is my profession, so I will give my 100% here. Lastly, saving time and impact. So that's what I was talking about all this while. You can wrap up the call with your lead or prospect or client that with my effective style of writing, I will be able to save your time and help you create the right impact on LinkedIn. The right impact for different people can be different. Like for someone, it can be gaining followers. For someone, it can be getting leads. For someone, it can be getting mainly grabbing the right set of eyeballs. Okay, so to do all these things strategically, uh, we- what I have told you is the four things that you need to mention on your discovery call. But you need to upskill yourself first, right? Otherwise, you won't be able to bring results. You know? So you need to know the do's and don'ts of ghostwriting. Here comes the first do's and don'ts, the do's of LinkedIn ghostwriting. What I have seen personally, number one thing is that spending time, as much time as you can, with your client once you have once you have onboarded them, once you have start working with them, start spending more time with clients virtually. Last time, I attended a session with Satish here. Okay, and he said that he met someone personally and started working for that person as a personal branding strategist. So just imagine, if you even cannot meet someone personally, you can get in touch with them virtually. Like we know that we need to get on a call for creating the strategy. We need to get on a call for creating, the for understanding that person. But apart from that professional thing, just suggest sir or ma'am. are you available for 30 minutes for coffee chat? Maybe try to, build a rapport with them. Try to be their friend. This has worked personally for me very well. For example, I have a client. He has multiple businesses, and I take care of his main personal brand as a founder. Okay. So what I do is this person keeps uploading stories and memes on his WhatsApp and Instagram. Okay. And I have been following him from my personal page and personal WhatsApp number also. So what I do to stay connected and to understand his thoughts, his ideas, and his way of life and lifestyle, what I do is I keep on chatting with him. Okay, if I like a certain meme that he has shared, I send emoji. If I believe that he has shared something very good, I praise him, I give him compliments. So when you indulge in this kind of activities with your client, now when you start seeing him not as your client but as someone, as a business partner maybe, or maybe as a friend, you get to know that person very well. And when you know that person, you can 100% write good for that. um, Next, Acha, let me tell you one thing, guys. If you have any questions, please note it down somewhere or share it in the chat. Then once I have done everything, I have done. Once I am done sharing the presentation, then I will take up the questions one by one. Fine. Okay. Now let me come to point number two. Research client squared content. Now we all know that research is very important. We need to sort of conduct an interview with a person. We need to ask questions. But what I do differently is I read, if they have ever given some interview to any press or
Bidisha,
any
just a second,
media,
just a
I
second.
go through that. If they have
Hello.
done any podcast, I go through that. If they have written any book, I go through that. If they have reviewed any product or something, even if it is for their personal use, I go through that review as well. I basically dig deep and try to find out everything about that person. Even even I personally check someone's Instagram captions as well, just to find out what sort of thing is going inside his or her head. Okay, so research is not just limited to certain questions, professional stories, failure stories, and winning stories. Research has to be very deep. Research can include interviews, podcasts, stories, books, social media presence, like the comments they do on other social media apart from LinkedIn. Basically, consider yourself as a private detective who digs very deep to open up things. Uh, Up until this, are you guys clear? Okay, great. Next, focus on clients' dislikes. Now, people are very much vocal on LinkedIn and other places where they teach LinkedIn personal branding about knowing your clients' preferences. So, if you know what someone likes to do, what someone
Hey
prefers,
Bidisha, can you
which
hear
places
us?
someone prefers to visit, what they like to eat, what they like to wear, it's easy for you to create the content. That is right. But if you don't know what they dislike, then you won't be able to create content for them. You won't be able to ghostwrite for them clearly, because ghostwriting, as I said, is not limited to just like writing the post. Ghostwriting also includes writing the engagements and engaging with others. So suppose on behalf of your client you comment on something and that comment does not sit well with your client because they do not like that point, it will straight away hamper your image as a ghostwriter. So apart from asking what they like, always create a separate set of questions. The question should focus on their dislikes, their political opinion, their opinion about business and 9 to 5, their opinion on major segments of life. The common things that we often see come upon LinkedIn, and you cannot randomly assume on your client's behalf that okay, I'm working for XYZ and XYZ likes this thing. No, you cannot assume that. If you are assuming something on behalf of your client, I have personally suffered this initially when I started out with my first ever client on LinkedIn. I didn't even know that I need to create a questionnaire and send it to them. It was my very first experience. So, as usual, I ended up noting down his preferences, knowing him. But then what happened is I almost forgot to ask him about his dislikes and what are the things he absolutely hates and what are his opinions. And I randomly engaged with someone. I commented something that is totally contradictory to my client, and he then confronted me, ki, Bidisha, you are doing this wrong. And that's when it since then I realized that I need to focus on someone's dislikes as well. So next time you onboard a client, you need to ask specifically about his dislikes. Fourth point is blend client's tone with your expertise. So you have heard everyone say that you need to, get into their shoes and copy them, mimic them, and do exactly what your client wants you to do, right? But the thing is, suppose, for example, not everyone here is from English speaking countries, right? Suppose I'm not working with someone from USA. I'm working from someone in India only. I'm working from someone in some another country whose major language is not English. So it can happen that that person is not very much fluent with English language. But LinkedIn requires some sort of professional language quality. So what you need to do is adapt to that client's tone, but use your grammatical knowledge. You can even use various tools. You cannot, in the name of just adapting to their tone and writing style, you cannot simply use broken language, wrong, wrong words, and you cannot misspell things just to give a sense of authenticity to them. Of course, you can use certain phrases that they use. You can use certain words that they use very frequently. If someone is not very well versed with English grammar, or someone who is not very affluent with the language, it is your job as a ghostwriter, as a professional ghostwriter, it is your job to polish their tone with your expertise. Now, number six is accept and apply feedback. This is something most of us are averse to. We don't like someone criticizing us, right? Someone is doing this from 6 years. I have been doing this from 2 years, and it is human nature to feel bad if someone gives us a feedback that is not very good in terms of our writing or something. Like, of course, we need to understand what is a red flag. We need to again understand what is a constructive criticism. If you run away from constructive criticism, if you run away from taking feedbacks, then you can never be a good ghostwriter. Take my words from them. Because even when the client is giving you a feedback now, that's also a place from where you can learn about his mentality, his emotions, the way he speaks. Okay. And that's how you can also improve the chances of getting that client on a retainer. I have always seen that initially I used to work on a 3 months basis with clients, ghostwriting clients, and then all of a sudden they used to wrap up the project. And gradually realized that what I am doing wrong is I am not taking feedback. You need to take the feedback. You need to realize that there's nothing personal. Whatever the client is saying, it is not personal. They just want you to improve. Yeah, you need to create a boundary. We all know that they cannot, get into your workspace. They cannot get into your head. They cannot instruct you, but they can share the feedback, their likes and dislikes. The sixth thing, building trust. This is very important, guys. Um, Tell me one thing. If you are to pay me today, okay, and you don't trust me, then will you even pay me like 1,000 rupees, let alone $500, let alone $1,000? You won't even pay me like one 1K rupees. You will say, I don't know, Bidisha, why should I invest on that? So the The very first thing is, when you have onboarded a client, the client has invested on your services. Now you need to gain their trust so that they open up to you. If they are not opening up, I can guarantee you won't be able to ghostwrite for the client. And once the contract is over now, that client is sure to go away, and you will lose your whatever you have been earning from your ghostwriting project. Work on ways to gain their trust. I gain my clients' trust by keeping in touch with them. Just like a while ago, I said that I comment on their social media. I engage with them personally. I check their WhatsApp status to find your own ways. The ways will always vary from person to person. The way will always vary from client to client. Find your ways to build trust with your client. Only then they will open up. Only then they will open up about their deepest, darkest failures. And that's when you will be able to create an authentic personal brand for them through your ghostwriting skills. Another tool for ghostwriting, LinkedIn ghostwriting, is language preference. I don't know why no one is talking about this. I guess people think this is very normal, but this is a very crucial mistake that majority of ghostwriters do here on LinkedIn. Know you where your client is from. This is a very basic thing. Should you use American English? Should you use British English? Should you use Australian English? Should you use Indian English? You know this. This is very basic thing that we as writers know. Your client may not be aware of that, but since you are representing them, it is your responsibility to focus on language. You cannot simply write for someone sitting in America in native Indian English. Coming to language preference, a point that I forgot to include in the presentation is that this is a part of my research. When you onboard a client, you get certain period of time before you start writing for them, right? So during the research part, if you're not very familiar with that country, maybe I'm assuming if you're not familiar, then start watching uh, movies, watching television shows, watching maybe interviews, anything that interests you, to familiarize yourself with the local phrases that they use. Because I have personally faced this, I have personally seen this. The way we Indians speak English, the way we Indians write, the way we use the phrases and the idioms, that are very much different the way the Americans use. Again, Australians are very much different. Again, someone from Sydney must be using someone from Dubai must be using something different phrases. So you need to familiarize yourself with your local culture. Also, you need to be very aware of the things that are going on while you are writing for them in their country, like their holiday seasons, like any kind of controversies, like the trending news, maybe whatever. You should be on point. You should, keep on polishing those current affairs. You should keep on consuming content regarding you should keep on consuming content around the happenings of your client's country. You cannot simply sit in India or sit in Sri Lanka and you can then imagine writing about your American or Australian client without knowing what's happening there, right? Now, before I move on to the don'ts of LinkedIn ghostwriting, tell me, do you have any questions around this? Anyone has any question around this?
Can you hear us?
Yes, Anirban, I'm checking the chat.
But we are talking for long, but you can't hear us.
Haseen is saying that she don't have any question. Is there any audio issue?
How can I say? Come on. Yes.
My PC volume is okay. I don't know what's happening here, guys. Let me check once again. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Pragya, are you saying something?
Sorry.
I just reconnected. Can you guys hear me? And can someone please speak up?
We can hear you,
Anirban,
but
please speak up.
you can't hear us.
Yeah, Akshi says we can hear you. Great.
Okay.
I don't know what's happening today. Everyone can hear me, right? I
Yep, I can hear you.
I cannot hear Anirban right now. Okay, let's do this. I will keep sharing the presentations as Animal says, and if anyone has any question, please drop it on chat. Okay, let's not waste any more time. Great. Now that we are done with the do's of LinkedIn ghostwriting, we will start with the don'ts of ghostwriting. So this point I have already covered that you need to take your client's active feedback. Okay, if you run away from that, you cannot survive. You cannot be a ghostwriter. Again, another thing which I want you all to follow is that do not impose your personal opinions. Okay, so there will be clients who will have beliefs and opinions 360-degree opposite to you, and you won't be able to come to terms with the fact that why someone is so has so much different opinion. But again, it is human nature. There are different human beings. We all have our opinions and beliefs. So what we should do is that we must, since they are paying us, okay, they have invested their time and money with us, it's our duty, our responsibility to not impose our own personal opinions on in their writing in no ways. For example, you will create a post and you will get it approved by your client, okay, but when you engage with someone on their behalf, there is very higher risk of uh, you know uh, allowing yourself to overcome your client's voice, to overshadow your client's voice. Never do that. If someone is averse to something, if your client is averse to something, your comment should also be averse to that particular thing. Never ever, I tell you, never ever let your personal opinions come in between your professional obligations. Again, I would say avoid poor sentence structure. LinkedIn is On LinkedIn we say that we have to use, let me check the chat one again. If I hope nothing is going wrong now. Okay, all is well. Fine. So on LinkedIn, what we do is we write very short sentences. We write simple sentences. Again, we come to see that some clients, some founders, some coaches, they prefer writing very long, novelish kind of paragraphs. It's our duty to tell them what format is working. It is our duty to guide them with what is right and what is wrong. But at the same time, you cannot use slangs. You cannot use abusive words, even if your client does that. That is my point. If your client is someone very chilled personality, very cool personality, they use slangs, they use abusive words, you cannot simply replicate them in your content, because that will that may straight away get them banned. Okay, LinkedIn, I personally have got a warning from LinkedIn while doing something for my, while engaging for my client. Link a pop-up appeared on my screen saying that, do you want to use this word? Think again. That is the very first time I saw something that sort of thing. So I changed the comment in a different way, and then it all went well. So avoid poor sentence structures in terms of slangs, abusive words. Um, okay, I was using the word banger, 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 and LinkedIn came back to me like, do you really want to use that? So I just changed that. So even if your client is very much cool and a chill kind of person and uses those languages, just don't replicate that tonality. Don't duplicate those words in his or her content. Lastly, you need to understand your client's persona. Now, by persona, I mean that whether they are honest, whether they are bold, whether they are vulnerable, whether they are uh, confident. What there are certain kind of client personas that you need to study very closely. Like, if I would say Anirban is here, if I need to write for him, I will study his persona closely. He comes across as a very confident person. Okay, he comes across as a very confident person, and I will maintain that tonality. He comes across as someone who loves to share his knowledge to the with the world, and I will try to retain that tonality, that persona in his write-up. Okay, so do not ignore your client's persona. If your client is very confident and suppose you are trying to write a personal story, a failure story around that person, then do not make that client sound like a crybaby. Okay, do not make him sound like a vulnerable person. Instead, focus on his confidence. Like, you can you can do this thing that you can share his failure story, but at the same time you can highlight that how, because of his confidence, he came out of that failure phase. Okay, that's what I am trying to say here. Next comes effective strategies for ghostwriting. Before that, guys, tell me, okay, what's happening in the chat? I believe sounds confident. I think sounds doubtful. Yeah, precisely. This is what I was talking about. You explained it well, Rahul. Okay, guys, tell me if you have any doubt so far in the do's of ghostwriting and the don'ts of ghostwriting. Your query got cleared, Tanisha. Very good. Anyone else? Okay, no one else. All good for now. Great. Let me then discuss quickly about the effective strategies for ghostwriting. Number one, you need to prepare a checklist of client persona. Right now, I mentioned about not ignoring your client's persona. I have just mentioned a few: honest, bold, vulnerable. Just do a quick Google search and you will find a list of client persona checklist. I myself will be sharing a client persona checklist with this. I have a checklist ready for you guys. You can take a screenshot or note it down, whatever suits you. You must always have a client persona checklist handy, and once you get on a strategy call, or maybe that interview call, or maybe that coffee chat after onboarding your client, you need to tick off those persona. Okay, confident or bold or honest, reserved, introverted. Okay, and whenever you are writing for that client, always refer to that checklist. The second thing, tone and style adaptation. Align with your writing style with the client's preferred tone of for consistency. What this means is, as I have said, you are a professional ghostwriter. You know the technicalities of writing. You know whether a long sentence will work there, a short sentence will work. You know that there are tools to make the posts suitable for mobile and laptop and everything. Your client doesn't know this, so you have to write on their behalf by understanding their tone and then blending that tone with your professional writing style. Okay. The third thing is content planning. I have we read these posts every day on LinkedIn around consistency and scheduling posts and creating batch creating content. Okay, for someone like you guys must be knowing Rose. She's a very big name when it comes to personal branding. She says she cannot. She writes post, on the flow. She randomly batch creates. For someone like me, without batch creation, I cannot survive. Either I will forget to publish something on LinkedIn if I don't batch create, or I will not be able to come up with something effective right before publishing the post. And when the clock is ticking, my brain just stop thinking. So I am someone who cannot batch create, who can batch create but cannot write on the go. Okay, so for your ghost writing client, I would suggest always do the content planning, always do the content strategy. And as a ghostwriter, it is your ethical duty to get those posts approved by your client. There will be some clients, there will be some friends, clients who turn into your friends who will say, okay, Bidisha, you can write. I trust you. Never do that. Batch create content. Based on that batch creation, share the draft with your client. Get it approved. Because what happens at the end of the day, they are paying you, even if they have become your close friend, it is your responsibility that you do not, you know, take benefit from that, and you do your duty well. Batch creation in advance for your ghostwriting client is also helpful in creative brainstorming. Okay, on the go, you cannot think, okay, my client, suppose you are working from a cafe and you need to publish something for your client at around 5 p.m., and you have just half an hour. In 30 minutes, it will be very difficult for you to think of something that your client may wish or may not wish to post. So always batch create and get it approved. Lastly, the analytical tools come to your rescue. Analytical tools are not meant just for followers checking or for checking the impressions. Analytical tools also help ghostwriters. How? Suppose you batch create 7 days worth of 2 weeks worth of content, maybe 6 posts. Okay, get it approved, publish them at the right time, and then engage, do everything perfectly, give it your 200%, and then check the analytics. Then note it down, take screenshots. Again, the prepare batch create content, prepare the strategy, write them down, get it approved for the next 2 weeks. Now check the analytics. Do you see any decline? You need to catch up then. Do you see any improvement? You need to double down on your efforts then. Without analytics, you won't be able to judge if you are doing the best for your client or not. Your client will also be checking his analytics only. Okay, at the end of the day, you will be sharing your monthly analytical reports, but your client throughout the month will be checking his LinkedIn analytical tools only. And if he sees an improvement, he'll be happy with your work. If he doesn't see any improvement, he will be unhappy. So check the LinkedIn analytical tools closely. Do not just rely on your skills. Okay, keep experimenting. Now, this is the client persona checklist I was talking about. I have total 28 listed, where this is basically the big list that I refer to for my clients. Okay, so what you can do is take a screenshot, and once you are done, let me know in the chat. Here, take the screenshot. Once you're done now, please let me know in the chat, because I don't know why, but I cannot hear you all. If everyone is done, I will take the slide to the next checklist. Should I? Yes. Okay. Here is the next section of the checklist. Please take screenshot of this as well. This will come very handy for you. whenever you get on a coffee chat or a strategy call or interview with your client, afterwards listen to their recordings and listen to their stories, sit with the recordings and then tick the persona checklist here. It will be very helpful for you. Have you guys screenshotted all the 28 traits, personality traits? Done. Great. Everyone is saying done. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So with this, I am done with the personal premium ghostwriting thing. Now you guys can come up with the questions, and as I promised, I will be sharing a bonus with you guys. But here's a catch. Anirban, will you like to announce it or should I? Just let me know in the comments.
Yeah, feel free to do it.
Where is Anirban? Okay, great. So a major part of onboarding your client and getting into their mind and getting into their shoes is asking the right questions, as I said in the initial few minutes of sharing the presentation. Do you guys have questionnaire ready? If not, then don't worry. I have a questionnaire ready for you all that I ask, and those questions are very much in depth. They will, literally give you access to your client's mind. You will be able to crack their personality. You will be able to understand what goes into their head. So, if you want that questionnaire, okay, in your DMs, then do one thing tomorrow, or maybe you have time, maximum by Monday you need to create a LinkedIn post, and there you can tag me, and there you can tag Anirban and Shagufta 10xu, and then you can explain about this, you can share your opinion around this presentation, this master class, whatever you have learned from it. And okay, so I won't tell you to share in detail whatever you have learned, but I will request you to express what you felt, what you can summarize whatever you want to there, and then tag us. And whoever does that, I will share, Anirban or I will share the checklist with you. And you have time to publish the post by Monday. Sounds great? Great, great, amazing. Now, so sorry guys, I cannot hear you all, but please, if you have any questions, drop that in the chat box. I will go through it now.
As a ghostwriter, the main thing is to understand the client voice and how the client is talking with you and all. Everything matters, as Vidisha told, right? So the questionnaire will
Hasim is saying, I heard that LinkedIn will block your account if you log into one account from two different devices. Say, personally, I have not experienced this kind of thing as a ghostwriter or as a LinkedIn user myself, because I have used LinkedIn. I have used my client's profile. I have logged into my client's profile from laptop as well, from my phone as well. At the same time, my client also logs into his account or her account from their laptop or from their desktop or from their phone. So by God's grace, so far nothing has happened, and I have been doing this for the last 2 years. So what you can do is, what I personally do is request my client not to be active in his profile or in their profile when I am logging in. Okay, so what I feel is that if they are also doing some activity from their phone and I'm also doing some kind of activity from my laptop or phone on their profile, LinkedIn may assume this as some kind of bot activity, because the same is also applicable for Instagram. Okay, I know this about Instagram for sure, and I believe this is also true for LinkedIn, that do not log into your client's profile or even in your profile at the same time from different devices. I think that may create some issue. But as you say, that login to one account from two different devices, no. So far, I have not experienced something like that. If anyone has experienced something like this, Anirban or someone else, you can share.
Actually,
I
if you
hope
are
this
not
answers your query, Thasin.
Tahasin, actually, if you are not logging together, I mean, simultaneously, I mean, let's say your client is also logging and you also log in the same time, then it contradict and link will block. But
Do
normally,
anyone else have any questions? Otherwise, we can wrap up now. Saluza, Amita, Rahul, anyone else?
Bidisha, are you able to hear us?
no, she.
Rahul, I don't think I'll be able to hear you. You can drop your question in the chat. Okay. I think I missed it earlier. Okay, for Indian clients, is it okay to converse in Hindi or any language? Both know if they are fluent in that. Wait a second. Stick to English to maintain professionalism, especially when it's the first call. Okay, Rahul, this is something very personal. I have experienced this personally. So, as a LinkedIn ghostwriter, I would suggest you start with English and then check whatever they are comfortable with. Okay, if they are comfortable in English, then stick to English. If they are comfortable in Hindi, then switch to Hindi. Okay, because what happens if someone is not comfortable in speaking in English and you continue to speak in English only, then the other person feels sort of demotivated or maybe inferior. And for someone who is getting into discovery call, we definitely want our prospects to, feel inferior or feel uncomfortable. So you need to observe closely, and before getting on a discovery call, of course, you should do a bit of research about that person. And when you do the research now, then try to see his comments and try to, figure out which language he or she will be proficient in, English or Hindi. Then talk to them in that only. Start with English, then switch to whatever he is or she is comfortable with. I hope this answers your question. Next is Pragya is saying need to close the PPT. Okay, let me try. Anirban, please speak up. I have closed the PPT and now I will.
All right. Thank you, Bidisha,
Please
for
speak up. I will try to
giving your
listen to
time.
you.
Uh, Thank you for giving your time.
Any
We learned a lot,
question?
and thank you everyone for joining today. I hope you learned about ghostwriting and
Like,
how.
do you guys log in simultaneously and nothing happened? Yeah, I told you that. Na? I asked my client to not, log in at that time. If I am suppose working on his profile between 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. IST, I will tell that client to not log into their account between 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. IST. Okay, that may be something suspicious for LinkedIn. I have read multiple articles on this also, but logging into same account at different times from different devices doesn't really impact it. No. Anyone else? Anirban, please make sure that I didn't miss any question. Saluza says I got everything clear. Thank you. Thank you so much, Saluza. You are a sweetheart. Tanisha, yours. Let me check. How to analyze the tonality of client if the client is starting from scratch? If he or she is starting from scratch, then one thing, ask them to write something. like 250 words, 200 words. Even ask them to write something on WhatsApp, maybe in email, maybe. Okay, 200, 250 words, 300 words. And the thing is, no one is starting from scratch. They must have published something on social media. Check that. Their captions, their comments in Instagram. They must have published something somewhere. Like they must have given some interview or something like that. But if they have not done something similar. They are as new as some. They are very new. Then ask them politely that I need to study your tonality. So first of all, you need to observe how they speak. That is not from scratch, right? You need to listen to your discovery call. You need to listen to the call recordings very carefully. That's how you will be able to grab their tonality. You will also, as I said, when you refer to that checklist now, you will be able to grasp their tonality. You will be able to match. Okay, this client speaks like this, then he must belong to this persona. He must be having this personality trait. And the basic thing that you can do, as I said, ask them to write something for you, like 250 words, 300 words. When they write that thing now, you will be able to, you will be also instruct them that write write as if you are journaling. Be yourself. Always instruct your client that they should not pretend to be someone else while writing. You should advise them to write as they are, who they are, what they like, what they prefer. The writing should be very much free flowing. That's how you'll be able to get their tonality. Hope this helps. Anyone else? Thank you, Yakshi. Thank you so much. If no more questions are left, then we will wrap up the session. Thank you, Tanisha. Anirban, yeah. Okay, great then. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you. Thanks, Anirban and
Thank
Shagupta,
you,
for giving me
everyone.
this opportunity.
Thank you everyone for joining. We will have
Neha,
another
thank
session,
you.
another session soon. Stay tuned and keep an eye on the message group. Right? Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shagupta. I am glad you guys found value. I'm really sorry for this technical glitch. I don't know what is happening. Thank you, Neha. Thank you, Amita. Yes, Saha, I think you have my number. Of course, you can text me. Thank you, Amita. Means a lot. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Paul. Thank you, everyone. Hi, guys.